Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome Governor Mitch Daniels.
International understanding is not easy to come by. It takes hard work, and I salute the center and thank each of its participants profoundly for what you do to create greater international understanding, and obviously for this most welcome and probably undeserved honor tonight. Sydney used to keep a list and occasionally share them with the rest of us of ways in which English was occasionally misunderstood elsewhere in the world. Signs he claimed he'd seen in hotels that said things like, "Please leave your values at the front desk." But nobody is worse at this than Americans, of course, and business history is littered with mistakes made by those who didn't understand foreign cultures or languages appropriately. I'm sure you've seen some of these. GM tried to bring the Chevy Nova to Mexico without changing its name. Of course, Nova means it doesn't go. Coca-Cola tried to go phonetically into China until they found out that Coca-Cola in Mandarin means bite the wax tadpole. Coors took their most successful and clever slogan to South America until they realized that to the Argentinian ear, turn it loose meant get diarrhea. All this was brought back to mind for me recently at one of our now more than 800 successful transactions to bring a business to Indiana. And up in Elkhart County, we brought a company unit now known as Dometic. They make appliances for RVs, refrigerators, and things like this. But to my delight, I found out that this is the descendant company of the famous Swedish firm we all knew as Electrolux. And just to prove that Americans aren't the only ones who occasionally stumble over culture, I will remind you that that company debuted one of its new vacuum cleaners in America with the regrettable slogan, "Nothing sucks like an Electrolux." Some misunderstandings are amusing, some are more damaging than that. I simply want to praise the International Center for the work it's done over now almost 4 decades, and to spend these few moments of gratitude thinking about how central this mission is now, more so than ever. Now, more than 1 in 25 Hoosiers is foreign born. Some 260+ thousand of us, a number that is growing extremely rapidly. As was mentioned, coincidentally, next Monday will be our second multi-ethnic conference. And they are marvelous occasions. At the first one, someone was taking pictures, and after I'd greeted the group and celebrated this astonishing variety of peoples who were present, I spontaneously commandeered a camera from this person and took their picture. I said, I am looking from this podium at the future of Indiana, and I only wish everyone could see it. I want to capture it for the future. Indiana has never been more engaged with the world and in the world than we are today. We all know the reasons that this is so incredibly important. Martin Jischke, thank you for being part of this and for your own work in this regard, led by Purdue and by IU, but participated in by dozens of our schools. A record number, more than 17,000 foreign students are studying in Indiana tonight. I can't help but remark that they bring with them almost $500 million of tuition and other payments. Or that we enjoy about a 2-to-1 balance of payments surplus compared to those Hoosiers who are studying abroad, and about whom we are also very excited. Indiana has come to the fore in a way that I hope you've noticed. For the last 3 or 4 years now, per capita, Indiana is the #1 state in America in foreign direct investment, in the participant of other, thank you, in the participation of the great companies of this world in our economy, with all that this means for our young people and for the future of our state in a world in which success will be defined more than anything by the ability to compete globally for capital and for the jobs that come with it. Last week in Columbus, we welcomed the first, I would say, legitimate large-scale investment by a Chinese firm. I believe it is the bow wave. I believe it is simply the first of a host of these. We'll be back in China in November with very high hopes. We have active conversations now with many other companies. I think it's entirely possible that in 10 or 20 years, people will look back on this period right now as we look back on the mid-'80s when Japanese companies began to come to Indiana in great numbers. And on our annual Asia trip this year, once again, I will be touting the virtues of our state, the low taxes, the low costs, the great infrastructure, the able workforce. And I've hit on a phrase for this, by the way, always, again, seeking to find a simple, clear way to be understood through translation, usually, in a very different tongue. And when I go to Japan, I have made it my practice recently to sum up the Indiana story by saying, Midwest quality, Sun Belt prices. And our Japanese friends always nod and write at that point. Oh, yes, Sun Belt, Dave. This seems to be a way to express the fact that here we believe we are capable of making the finest products, the most front-edge services in the world, and yet doing it affordably in a way in which the investor has a good chance to get their money back.